The big Xbox news is in, and the console wars will rage on. Game Pass is heading to hell, and Helldivers 2 faces a robot invasion. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is Jinx News. There's been a lot of hysteria around Xbox for the last week, but thanks to a good old podcast yesterday from Xbox big boss Phil Spencer, we've now got a nice clear picture of what's actually going down. No, Xbox isn't being killed off, and no, Starfield isn't coming to PS5. And yes, I know PlayStation fans, I know that's really hard to hear. Oh god, please don't cry. Actually, never mind, I happened to watch the Iron Claw last night, and you should definitely cry right now. Just feel those feelings, star feelings, if you will. Cool, over it? Thought so. In fact, the big Xbox news wasn't that big at all, because ultimately the biggest change is that only 4 Xbox exclusives are coming to other platforms. Now, Spencer didn't name them, but we do have a few sources pretty confident that there'll be Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, Pentiment, and Grounded. Bigger titles like Starfield aren't on the list, and upcoming AAAs like Indiana Jones look to be remaining exclusive to PC and Xbox. Though saying that, he did also hint that he felt exclusive games are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the industry over the next 5 to 10 years, so this could just be the beginning. Xbox President Sarah Bond was also keen to address the console side of things, and while she was still extremely vague, she said that there's some exciting hardware coming out in the holiday season, and that the next-gen console would be the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation. Now, that all lines up pretty nicely with the leaks we saw from the FTC trial last year, and it seems like Xbox Series X and S digital-only refreshes are on the way. In fact, the X Series will be reimagined with a new cylindrical design. I've decided to dub it the X-Tube. Yep, no problematic connotations with that one. Sadly, it doesn't look to be a Pro model, though it will come with an expanded 2TB SSD and a new, more immersive controller. When it comes to next-gen consoles, however, details are pretty slim, and we're far enough away that Microsoft is always going to talk a big game. And ultimately, I kind of see this hardware news as a bit irrelevant, because as always, they will live and die by the games that Xbox puts out. Why else would anyone want to buy them? And now I'm going to immediately answer my own question, because it's not just about individual games anymore, not when Xbox has Game Pass. It's probably the one thing that saved Xbox from falling off a complete cliff when it comes to this generation of consoles. And now that Microsoft has gobbled up a whole bunch of studios via Activision, we're now seeing the inevitable expansion of what Xbox has to offer. And that means Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass. It'll be the first Activision Blizzard game to hit the subscription, and will be available from the 28th of March. Now, it makes sense. Diablo 4 has been dwindling pretty damn hard since its release, and there's only so many insane people willing to spend ludicrous amounts on portal colors and horse skins. It is a nice addition, sure, and I bet a load of people will check it out, but I'm more interested in the wider implications that this has, as it seems these Activision Blizzard games are going to be drip-fed onto Game Pass. Now, I have seen some other outlets getting all excited, like, oh my god, could this mean Call of Duty on Game Pass? And just to be clear, everyone writing those articles are either dumb or harvesting some serious clickbait, or maybe both. $70 Call of Duty games sell in droves every single year. They will never sacrifice that and put it on Game Pass. That would be such an unimaginably stupid business decision. It would make Unity's runtime fee fiasco look like child's play. Could we see Call of Duties from a couple of years ago? Sure, why not? And will other first-party ActiBliz games be added day one to Game Pass? Almost inevitably. But let's not be silly, shall we? And while we're being sensible, it's probably a wise decision to subscribe to this channel. Gaming news, Monday to Friday, all here free on YouTube. It's a hell of a deal. Let's say goodbye to that Xbox news with a tasty quickfire round. First up, Helldivers 2 has been hit by a sudden invasion of robots. The game has been a breakout success, though that has led to a mass execution of millions of pesky bugs. Well, a surprise update has dropped, lining up a bunch of automatons to be slaughtered next. 2 new planets have been opened up, ready for that sweet, sweet liberation, and it's a good sign of things to come for Helldivers 2. Moving on, we all know that Alan Wake 2 is a very good game. Sadly, that doesn't always lead to very good sales. Well, luckily for Remedy, it sold a tasty 1.3 million copies, making it the studio's fastest selling game to date. It's nice to see, considering the original didn't sell amazingly, despite it being a bit of a cult classic, and it means more content for all of you Alan Wake fans. There's 2 paid expansions in the works, and at this point, I feel like a third game is pretty much inevitable. Last up, on yesterday's show, I talked a load about the free short indie game Sheepy, a short adventure. As you all know, I think it's fantastic, but apparently I'm not alone. As of right now, it's Steam's best rated game of the year. And man, what an achievement to have over 2,000 reviews and over 99% of them be positive. And despite being only an hour long, it apparently took 3 years to develop. And amazingly, it's the first game ever made by solo developer Thomas Lean. And that means I am so excited for whatever he does next. And that's the show and the week. Check out yesterday's video somewhere around here. Have a wonderful weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.